point, Dr. Rajeev Kumar.
Mohandas, for once, let me agree. Mohan, let me just disagree with you for once. Because you're just dismissing the tax reduction of the small and medium enterprises, saying that they don't create good jobs. I don't buy that at all, because a large number of the small and medium enterprises are defense producers, they are avionics producers, are IT companies, and also the fact that now the SME companies which are going to operate all in cash are going to be folded.
Rajeev, I'm not saying don't give it to them, Rajeev. I'm not saying don't give it to them. I said give it to the service companies also.
Housing sector. Mohan, housing sector, the housing sector, the amazing number of incentives given for affordable housing, and I think that the housing sector is employment intensive and has huge multiplier effects into the economy that will create jobs. I mean, only giving incentives to large corporations,
let me give data.
Large manufacturing companies are not the only way.
Rajeev, let me give some data. Rajeev, let me give data. Rajeev, my friend, let me give you some data. No, let me give data, please. One piece of data. There are 60 lakh graduates coming out of colleges. 60 lakhs every year. Where are the jobs for them? They're all fighting in the streets. They're throwing stones. 60 lakh people are coming out of jobs. We need white collar jobs too, Rajeev. It's not only everybody's aspiration not to go be a mason or build a house, not to drive your car. Their aspiration is to get a better quality job.
As well.
What will it do for the 60 lakh people?
What tells you that the white collar jobs only exist in the IT companies
How much
and not in the medium scale
8,000, 10,000? Nabalika, look at data, Nabalika.
But
Nabalika, look at data, Nabalika. Look at the salary they get.
You will yourself say, Mohan, that those graduates coming out are not worth the kind of salary that they will be able to get.
Let's get Chandran Mitra into this. Chandran Mitra.
Yeah, but they have to be trained, and small companies cannot train, Rajeev.
Is a fine one. That look, there should have been more concessions to the big corporates. And it seems that Mr. Modi was in a political year worried that he might be tagged as pro big corporates, big business, etc., and therefore has not done very much. How do you respond to that?
No, I don't think that big corporates really need shops. They must stand on their own feet, which they have all these decades. Big corporates have done well, and some of our bigger companies are now competing in the world on their own strength. I don't think the government has to do any hand-holding to them. Where a government needs to do hand-holding, which is with small and medium industries and enterprises, it has done so. It has brought down the tax rate on them, and then this huge infrastructure expenditure and the expenditure on rural housing and rural development. I think this is going to create large number of jobs.
But private investment has been a bit of a problem.
The country as a whole, at large, and not
Mr. Mitra, private investment has been a big problem.
Yeah.
Private investment has been a big problem. How does this budget address that?
The government cannot do anything about private investment. Private
exports are down
come on its own. The government cannot invest on behalf of private companies.
No, government cannot invest on behalf of private companies for sure. Let me get in Rajeev Chandrasekhar on this one. Rajeev Chandrasekhar joins us live, and Rajiv Rai of the Samajwadi Party along with Mr. Mungekar, former Rajya Sabha MP, also with us. Rajeev Chandrasekhar, the government cannot do the job of investment on behalf of the private sector, but the fact that MSMEs have been given the tax break, do you think they should have extended to the entire corporate sector, or do you think the government is focused on the MSME sector that brings in the bulk of the manufacturing, bulk of the business really on the ground?
No, I mean, I think people who are advocating a tax break for the large corporates did not hear the finance minister speak. He justified the tax break for the MSMEs, saying that the effective tax rate for the large corporates are much lower than the MSMEs, and that is why he wanted to reduce the tax rates for the MSMEs. There is no evidence that tax breaks spur investments alone. The issue with private investment in the country is that the banking sector and the NPA problems of the banking sector that this government inherited from the UPA continues to hold back the credit expansion and credit availability to large corporates who are trying to invest. There is absolutely no doubt, I have written about it, I have spoken about it in Parliament repeatedly since 14, that the private investment cycle has in a sense turned soft and has remained soft for the last 3 years. It has not restarted, and I would have hoped that this budget did something more for the private investment cycle to restart. But the government has accepted that and has recognized that, and that is why it has expanded considerably the public investment side of this budget.
No, okay, yeah. What could he have done? One second. I just want to ask you, what could he have done? What could he have done to revive the private investment cycle? And I just also want to draw our viewers' attention to a reaction that has come in from Mamta Banerjee. Mamta tweets, calls this budget clueless, useless, baseless, missionless, actionless, heartless. Heartless how?
I could have predicted that.
No, she has a wonderful
I could have predicted
job ahead of her.
I would have predicted that she
so
said
chooses.
1 year,
she can be a
one day
scriptwriter.
ago.
Well, I can tell you what's going on in one of the localities of West Bengal with regards to land appropriation would be termed heartless by some of those individuals who are actually fighting for the land there. But it's an interesting one that you've had similar tweets coming in. There seems to be some sort of an alignment or unstated alignment there.
But Rahul, we already said that these statements could have come in yesterday, day before, last budget, any time, because these are predetermined reactions to the budget that come in nevertheless, whatever the budget might have been. But Rajeev Rai, do you think, and maybe you could compliment Times Now, because we have a new law, the Vijay Mallya law, which is coming in. The Vijay Mallya law says that, anybody who's an absconder, an offender of financial irregularities will, even if he does leave the country, his assets will be taken over by the banks, by the government. So do you think the Vijay Mallya law is also something of a breakthrough that hasn't been given too much importance yet?
I don't think there is anything new about this. These laws were existing earlier also, and they said they'll consider of imposing such law. Let me summarize this whole budget speech. There is old saying, if you do not know where are you going, if you do not know which road you have taken, there is no point.
Okay, Rajeev Rai, hold on. Amit Shah, BJP president, is speaking. Let's go across to Amit Shah and we'll come back to you, Rajeev Rai.